Hello, guys, and welcome to a Stardomcast mini-sode, sort of an instant reaction to the five-star Grand Prix playoffs. Hello, by the way, my name is Rob Goodwin. I am your host. I am joined, as always, by my Joshi partner in crime. It is Mr. Matt Turner. And Matt, we are a day removed from Act City Hamamatsu, which we'll be reviewing in our longer episode, which of course will be released as usual on Thursday for our patrons, Friday for everybody else. But we just wanted to go through and sort of talk a little bit about what we think of the playoff brackets, where we think we're going with the tournament, and what else we might be setting up as we'll be talking about in the podcast this week. We've got two big pay-per-views coming up. We've obviously got Historic Crossover 3 coming up as well as the five-star final as well. So lots of things to be set up. But first of all, before we delve into it, Matt, how are you?
I'm great, buddy. I'm fantastic. How was your vacation? I know I was talking to you a little bit here and there. You said you're recharged, refreshed, ready to go for the end of the five star. But did you have yourself a good time, good sir?
I did. Yes, it was very nice. Still managed to basically spend the entire time doing stuff for the podcast, but yeah, all good, my friend. Much needed, very very nice. We'll definitely be going back there. I would have thought. But yes, obviously, the main thing is that the five star has reached the knockout phases. We now have a full playoff bracket. As YouTube viewers, you'll be able to see on the screen. Obviously, I wasn't here for the episode that you and Andy did. Thank you, Andy, for jumping in on that podcast. Really appreciate that. But we now know who is where, and in some regards, I think it's sort of what we predicted. In some regards, not so much, which definitely pertains to Red Stars B. Matt, what are your sort of instant thoughts on this bracket?
Rob, if you go back to our primer, and I just double check my notes before we hit the record button, we did our predictions of who was going to go into the playoffs, the whole nine. It was a 3.5 hour phenomenal fun episode.
It
So there's
was.
12 people for the
Hmm.
playoffs. I guessed
Yes.
11 out of 12 right. The one person I got wrong, Ron Goodwin, not only was it Starlight Kid, but Starlight Kid my pick to win the whole thing. So the
Yes,
one
it was.
person that I missed out was Starlight Kid, my one pick to my prediction. She was my pick to win the whole entire thing, but really good on Rena. What a great, this puts Rena in a whole nother category now. It
Oh
really
yeah.
does. It really puts her in that main event level. So, I mean, this is awesome what this tournament has done. I'm really excited for Wednesday to watch this show. And again, the reason why we're going to do this is I was thinking Sunday, just a few hours after the show was over, I was like, you know what? I want to do a kind of just a quicker podcast episode just to kind of give an idea of what I think is going to happen. And then I text Rob. I said, Rob, this is what I'm going to do. You want in? He's like, oh, hell yeah. And then he gave somebody a stunner and drank beers because I think that's what happened. So, um, yeah, I kind of have an idea of, and I could be wrong, just kind of what I think is going to happen, and then how the card may or may not be set up for not only the rest of the five-star Grand Prix and the five-star final coming up this weekend, but maybe that pay-per-view coming up on the 6th, because that is just 2 weeks after the five-star final. So there's a lot of great things set up, Rob. I'm super excited for it. I may be wrong on some things I may not be, but it's just the way that it's built up. It really seems like I kind of have a clear vision of where they're going and what this card on Saturday can be set up for, because we've known for the five-star Grand Prix in the past, that final night is one of the best wrestling shows you'll see in all year from
Absolutely.
2021 and 2022. And obviously last year was a little bit different because we just had 3 5-star matches with the 2 semifinals, the finals, then Tam Nakano rightfully reclaiming the World of Stardom Championship, and then just a whole bunch of, and there was some good matches on the undercard, but ultimately it was kind of just a 4-card show with Kamatani and Hanan, Mayu and Micah, Kano and Tora for the red belt, and then eventually Micah and Kamatani in the final. So there's a lot of stuff set up, Rob, because they're going to
Mhm.
want to draw 2,000 tickets. And I just checked the tickets just the other day, and they're selling well, but for a show less than a week away, and needs a little bit more oomph. So I kind of have an idea where they may or may not go to really make this card spread out, because we know on Saturday, the final, we're going to have 3 5-star matches, your red star final, your blue star final, and then your ultimate final. But there's a possibility for a lot of big championship matches on said card. I guess, Rob Goodwin, without any further ado, do you want to get into what I think is going to happen, good sir?
Yeah, just quickly before you jump in, I just want to briefly remind everyone, because obviously not everyone is going to view this on YouTube. Again, we will go into this in far more detail on Thursday/Friday. But just want to remind everyone, block winners: Blue Stars A, Cioriano; Blue Stars B, Sari; Red Stars A, Saya Kamatani; Red Stars B, Natspoi. All 4 of those will receive buys into the quarterfinals. Cioriano will then face the winner of Suzu Suzuki and Bozilla. Sari will face the winner of Momo Watanabe and Ame Sori. Sai Kamatani will face the winner of Azumi and Hanan. And then Natsupoi will face the winner of B. Priestley and Rena. So all of that, quarterfinals and playoffs, will take place Corrigan Hall, 20th, live this Wednesday, live with English commentary provided by Walker Stewart. And then the 23rd of August, which is Saturday, this coming Saturday, we will have the finals and the semi-finals as well. Do want to do just a couple of victory laps. One, I called Rena going through. Absolutely.
You
Don't know
did?
what it was. In fact, I think I got 11 right as well. Just looking at the bracket, I think I had Starlight Kid going through and not Azumi. I think that was the one mistake I made. But everyone else, I think Red Stars B was the only one that I think we got anything wrong out of, because everything else is sort of the people you would expect to go through. And then obviously with B. Priestley defeating Saya Kamatani on the final night of block action, which I'm sure will play into something you're going to talk about. And I text you whilst I was in Wales to tell you what I thought was going to happen as well for this Stardom to the World pay-per-view. I imagine that's going to play in, good sir.
Yeah, again, you had a really good point. We were kind of going back and forth. So we're going to be spoiled on a lot of great stuff from Stardom between, again, this Wednesday, Cork Hall. We know matches. We're definitely getting Azumi versus Hanan. We're definitely getting B. Priestley versus Rena. There's a lot of matches that we're definitely getting. And then there's some really great matches that there's a good possibility we're getting. Then you throw in what's possibility for the final night of the 5-star. And then 2 weeks after that, we know we're getting a red belt and a white belt match for that To the World show, because they put up promotional posters of Saya Kamatani with the red belt and Natsupoi with the Wonder Belt. So you know you're going to get
Starlight Kid with the Wonder Belt.
Starlight Kid with the Wonder Belt. I apologize. So good call, buddy. Look at that. What a tag team partner. What a guy. So again, there's going to be a lot of great stuff, coming off this 5-star and then going into, the rest of the year. But Rob, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about this fantastic card coming up in just 2 days, less than 2 days time, as we are recording. So now, Rob, I'm going to put some things out. If you want to cut me off, by all means, you pull the Bobby Eaton, you throw the big knee up, and you cut me off, my man. So what I'm going to start with is, to me, the most interesting match in this basically opening round coming up here on Wednesday. And that's Azumi versus Hanan in Red Stars A. And it's interesting for a lot of different reasons. One, it's Azumi versus Hanan. It's going to be a fantastic match. But the winner of this takes on World of Stardom champion and super megastar Saya Kamatani later on that night, which may be the main event of this Korakuen show.
Probably will be.
It's either going to be that or there's something in the one Blue Stars bracket that I can guarantee.
It depends if we get the rematch of Sari and Momo.
And I think, again, we're going to get into that. I don't want to get ahead of myself. So Azumi and Hanan, you take a step back. They set up something with Saya Kamatani and Hanan as recently as the last Korakuen show. It was the main event of the last Korakuen show. So now you're back at Korakuen. Do you play it that way? Because you want to cash in on that. So I would understand if Hanan goes through. There's a bigger story with Azumi because of something we talked about, I believe, 2 weeks ago on the podcast, which, again, I will get into in a moment. So I think Azumi's going to go through, and you're getting an Azumi and Saya Kamatani. Regardless, whoever wins that, it's going to be a great match with Kamatani, and either Kamatani versus Azumi or Kamatani versus Hanan. For me, I would rather, and I love Hana, I rather see Azumi versus Saya Kamatani, and I'm going to get into more on that later. So now, Rob, I want to bounce around to the next part of the bracket. You have B. Priestley versus Rena. Rena, unbelievable. Going to be probably the breakout star of this tournament. Many people already have her pegged in as the MVP of the entire tournament. I want to save reserve for just yet. Right now, my MVP is Starlight Kid as far as match quality goes, but obviously she is no longer in the tournament, so it could be somebody else. So B. Priestley not only pinned Saya Kamatani, who's not eaten a pinfall loss in a Stardom ring in almost a year since that final to Micah, and she's the World of Stardom champion.
350 days in a Stardom ring without being pinned in a singles match.
Rob actually has a calendar where he checks it off.
I do, yeah.
Day 19.
Burnt it. Now there's no need.
Yeah, you're done. That's done.
Yeah.
That's move on
Off
to the next.
wall. Kirsty's well happy.
Now, the other thing that Rob has is how many days since Fukian Death has been pinned in a 5-star Grand Prix. So it's been since 2021, right?
Absolutely. We're looking at thousands of days now.
That's right. Roman Reigns, who? Anywho. So what they're going to do is B. Priest, again, not only beating Saya Kamatani, but beating her in the last match before the playoffs. Like, that was the main event. That's the last thing you see. I thought it was a fantastic match. I think that you're going to run B. Priestley versus Saya Kamatani back sometime soon, whether it's on the final night or whether it's going to be on that 2 of the World show. Again, we're going to get into it. So my guess is B. Priestley. You need to get a little more steam on her. She's going to beat Rena. She's going to go through. So now I have B. Priestley versus Natsupoi, Azumi versus Saya Kamatani. Let's move over to the Blue Stars. Suzu Suzuki versus Bozilla with Soriano waiting in the wings. Flip a coin, heads you wins, tails you win. Bozilla's fantastic. Suzu Suzuki's terrific as well. Suzu Suzuki, somebody that's kind of like nobody's talking about as potential MVP of this tournament. Her matches have been terrific, second to none. That match she had with Rani Yagami just the other day, terrific. Great match. So we just saw Bozilla versus Soriano not that long ago. I wouldn't mind seeing it again, but I think Suzu Suzuki goes through. I think having her knock off Bozilla is going to do a great job to build Suzu Suzuki back up. Not only that, but you have faction warfare. Both members of Mila Vita Loca. So I think you're going to get Suzu Suzuki versus Soriano. Boy, howdy, Rob Goodwin. Boy, howdy. Now we go to the other thing. Now to me, this is the lock. If you're like, Matt, you need to bet your mortgage on what do you think this is going to happen. Stardom has clearly set this up. Like, if you don't see, and it's can I be wrong? Sure, it's a possibility. But if you don't see this coming, I mean, it's clearly set up, and it's exactly what the Stardom fan base wants. And I say Stardom fan base because Sari is the biggest heel in Stardom. And
Momo so well with it.
And Momo Watanabe is like the biggest baby. And again, we will cover the show from the 16th in long form, where Momo Watanabe got in the ring for that main event. And before Sari's music hit, people were yelling for Momo Watanabe. Like, oh my God.
Biggest baby face in the building.
She didn't get that reaction when she was the leader of Queen's Quest or after she beat Io. And those were big reactions. So it's like, So I love Ami Sori. My wife's picked to win the whole thing. Sorry, sweetheart. Momo Watanabe is defeating Ami Sori. Her and Sari. That is that match. And while we're here, I'm gonna get right into it. Momo Watanabe is beating Sari.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it. The way that they had a great match on the 16th. And again, folks, we're gonna get into it in long form because we were definitely gonna be having a much longer episode when we record on Thursday. So, and I remember as soon as like the match was over, you text me and you're like, that was a great match, but I think they have a better match in them. And I was like, yeah, it was great. I think I had I'm just thinking up top of my head, 4.5 stars. They definitely have a 5-star match between the two of them because Momo's great. Sari's great. They have similar styles. It was a match that was greatly built up over the past month. Here's your rematch in Cork and Hall. If you remember last time they were at Cork and Hall, it was Team Sari versus the hate trio of Konami, Sai Kamatani, Momo Watanabe. We thought we were going to get a lot of Momo versus Sari violence on that. But what they did is they kind of left hook us to give us Konami and Sari, which was that match we got just a few days later on night 1. Momo Watanabe, after the match, choking Sari out with the baseball bat, got a massive reaction. That's not something that you do to get a massive baby face reaction because the people love Momo Watanabe so much and they love to hate Sari so much. So, Rob, it's right there in front of you. It's right there in front of you. Momo gets the win back and possibly has that better match that we just talked about. So I have Momo Watanabe going to the pay-per-view. She is going to go to the pay-per-view as one of the finalists of Blue Stars. So we'll stay on Blue Stars since we're already here. Soriano versus Suzu Suzuki. Again, heads you win, tails you win. But for me, you have to look at it as who's the bigger star. There's not many bigger stars in Joshi right now than Soriano. We talked about it at the Cell Proto show at the end of May. 2,800 people in the same building they're going to be wrestling at on Saturday. So Soriano, I think, is almost. We love Bozilla. We love Suzu Suzuki. I think Soriano is almost a lock to go to the pay-per-view from that block. So Rob, going my Blue Stars final is Soriano versus Momo Watanabe. Might be a slightly above average match. Let's bounce back over to Red Stars. B. Priestley versus Natsupoi. This is going to be another fun match. I know, and I definitely want to get a more in-depth talk with you on Thursday. B. Priestley's 5-star run has been very polarizing. I know me, you, Andy Header, a couple other people are really enjoying what she's doing. Other people are like, no, don't like her matches at all. I thought her match with Sai Kamatani on that final night was tremendous. A lot of people were like, didn't care for it. And you're right. You're right to your opinion. I completely respect that. Even with that being said, we talked about with Soriano. You know who else helped draw 2,800 tickets in that building? Fuking and Death. No,
absolutely,
Natsupoi.
always
Natsupoi. Right. So again, when I'm looking at that block, Rena, I mean, just doesn't matter with her. You know what I mean? She is on another level right now. She comes off a big winner. B. Priestley's fantastic. She's going to get a red belt shot. Natsupoi, I can almost lock that in, is going to win that block. She's going to go to the pay-per-view. Now, we go to Kamatani versus Zumi. And again, it could be Han, and that's a possibility because there's still the lingering thing if Kamatani wins this whole entire thing and unlocks the door to bring Tam Nakano back. I know that's a theory that a lot of people have. So, Sai Kamatani and Azumi. Azumi beat Kamatani a few weeks before the big championship match, the big loser must retire match with Kamatani versus Tam. They never really followed up on that, and you're kind of wondering why. They teased it, and then it was almost like, well, we kind of have other ideas. Here's the other idea, Rob. I think Azumi is going to defeat Saya Kamatani. Pitting her in Corkin Hall, massive reaction. That's going to give us Azumi versus Natsupoi. Now, a couple minutes ago, I mentioned about how me and you were texting with that Sari versus Momo Watanabe match. Like, they have a better match in them. When these brackets were announced, one of the matches people were so excited for was Azumi versus Natsupoi. They had a 2.5-minute match. Don't get me wrong, it was great, but we were like, why was it only 2.5 minutes? The show was only a little over 2 hours. And if you're going to cut a match for time, why are you cutting a match that so many people wanted to see? And I think I said even right there, I said, Rob, what if they meet in the playoffs? And then you, in your infinite wisdom, you brought up your thing, like the only way they can meet in the playoffs if it's the block final. Boom, Rob Goodwin. It is right there. It was like, oh my God, I wanted a longer Azumi versus Natsupoi match. Why didn't I get it? Guess what? You're going to get it again in Ode Award on the final night. So my final four is Soriano versus Momo Watanabe, Azumi versus Natsupoi. Now, Rob Goodwin, when it comes to pro wrestling, I get a little greedy. So what I would like, I don't think it's going to happen. What I would like is maybe a week or two after the 5-star, I would like a 5-star final special tag match with Soripoi versus Momo Oz. Don't think it's going to happen, but can you imagine that? So I think we said it about a week after we did our almost 4-hour primer. We're like, why did we not see Soriano versus Natsupoi in the final? They drew 20. They sold that building out. Where is the final? In the same building. Rob Goodwin, I'm looking at this now. It's going to be Soriano versus Natsupoi in the final.
100%.
And I don't know who's going to win. I will give my prediction on Thursday, and I'm not even doing that. I know a lot of times I like to leave everybody hanging. I don't know who is going to win, but if it's not Kamatani winning the whole thing to bring back the Tam thing, maybe this whole entire thing was for Tam to get Kamatani to that another level that nobody in Stardom's history has ever hit. But between the company growing, Kamatani just coming up, it's literally like there's no bigger drawing star in the history of Stardom in the last year or so than Saya Kamatani Tam Nakano really helped getting her to that next level by defeating her, by putting her over 3 times in a matter of 5 months. Dream Queendom, the Corkin show, and then in Yokohama. So maybe this is now the opportunity for either Soriano or Natsupoi to get to that next level, to either have another great challenge on Kamatani or possibly beat her. That I don't know, because whoever wins this 5-star, if they hold off and they go to Dream Queendom, I know last year it was like the next, like 2 or 3 weeks later, was Micah versus
Namba
Tam.
Grand Prix.
Yeah, and it was a great match. Don't get me wrong, one of my favorite Tam matches ever, which is saying something. It was a great match. But I think if they hold this off to Dream Queendom, no matter who comes out of this, still isn't guaranteed to defeat Kamatani. And every single Dream Queendom, we've had a title change. And I know in 2023 it was a vacant title because Tam was injured, but regardless, we've always had a new champion coming out of every Dream Queendom. If they're ever going to pull the trigger on keeping the champion, I think it's this year, and it's Kamatani. So regardless, whoever wins this, I'm not sure yet they're going to beat Kamatani, but I have Natsupoi and Soriano in my final. Now, here's the way I'm looking at this pay-per-view. And again, maybe I'm being a little too greedy because, again, I know we have another one in 2 weeks, but I have ideas for how that's going to happen. So if this does go afoot, you're going to have your semifinals of Momo Watanabe versus Soriano. And Momo Watanabe, there's a possibility she may win as well. Don't count her out. Maybe they do that Momo Watanabe versus Saya Kamatani storyline. There's a possibility there. So the way that my pay-per-view is looking, and I know I'm crazy, but I don't think I'm too crazy. I got Soriano versus Momo Watanabe. I have Azumi versus Natsupoi. Your second biggest star in the company, Starlight Kid. And I was thinking about this after she had the draw with Rena. I was like, why isn't she such a front? She should definitely be in the final of this tournament. Why is Starlight Kid nowhere there to be found in a show you want to do 2,200 tickets? Because they have set up her and Tomoka Inaba. And I don't think you wait. This show needs at least 2 championship matches added on to the semifinals and the finals. Here's what in my mind's eye you have already set up. I think you have not Natsupoi, excuse me. I keep calling her Natsupoi. And it's Starlight Kid's birthday. I apologize to Starlight Kid, and happy birthday to one of the kindest wrestlers I've ever met, Starlight Kid. You have Starlight Kid versus Tomoka Inaba. Why don't you do B. Priestley and Saya Kamatani here? And I'll explain in a moment why. And then, Rob, you know what else? What about Konami versus Sari? You can put that on this card. What about Mei Seira versus Yuna Mizumori? You can put that on this card. You know who else isn't factored in on Saturday? BMI 2000. There is a lot. You can do Hina versus Rani Yagami again. There is a lot of stuff you can do than just the finals, and then we'll throw a couple matches on there. Now, could I be wrong? And could that be the card? Sure. And I would have no whoever they give me for my semifinals and finals, because it's going to be great. But you have the opportunity. And again, considering the fact that we're just a few days away and the tickets probably aren't as moving as well as they should, you throw a Saya Kamatani red belt match and or a Natsupoi Wonder of Stardom champion. Oh my God, I said it again. Starlight Kid versus holy jeepers. It is Monday, folks. My Sundays are long. I'm still trying to recover. You put Starlight Kid versus possibly Tomoka Inaba, because they set that up. And then after Tomoka won her match the other day, she signaled that she wanted a championship match. So that's a possibility there. Again, Konami did choke out Sari on the opening night of the 5-star. So you can put that there as well. And then we have that pay-per-view in 2 weeks. Why don't you do as your main event Azumi versus Saya Kamatani? Because Azumi did defeat Saya Kamatani. And I love B. Priestley, but I think Azumi versus Saya Kamatani is a bigger match. And that would be your main event. Because regardless of if they put 5 or 6 championship matches on the final night, your main event needs to be, and it will be, the final of this. So you can put Saya and B as like your semi-main event just to build towards whatever the final is going to be. So I think you have a possibility of doing a great 1-2 red belt, a 1-2 punch for Kamatani red belt challenges, where you have B. Priestley possibly this Saturday, and Kamatani gets her win back. And then you do Azumi if she defeats Saya Kamatani, which I think she's going to, in Korakuen, and then you put that on 9-6. I think and you can set that up right on Saturday, because if Azumi loses on match 1 or match 2, because the semifinal is going to be early on, and then say Kamatani defeats B. Priestley, then Azumi comes out and be like, hey, I pinned you twice this past year. I beat you clean in Korakuen Hall. I want a title shot. Make it on the 6th. Boom. So before that show goes off air, you know what your main event for the next pay-per-view is. Azumi versus Saya Kamatani. You throw in all the Queen's Quest history, it's going to sell a lot of tickets. And then you have Starlight Kid. Yes, I said it right finally. Starlight Kid defending the Wonder of Stardom champion. It could be against Rena. you got Rena white hot, pun intended, and you basically run that match back because they had the bye just this past week, and then they had that great match back there, dun dun dun, and rock and roll. So you can possibly put that on 9-6. Also, why not do Momo Watanabe versus Sari number 3? Just do them boom, boom, boom. Put that for the IWGP Championship on the 6th of September. Stardom has a lot of great stuff lined up if they want to pull the trigger, or they can just stretch it out. They can stretch it out. I'm not going to tell them how to book their wrestling company. Regardless, Rob, it's all right there in front of you. It's all right there in front of us. It's all stuff that we want to see. It's all stuff that's going to make Bushiroad a lot of money. And I'm super excited for this to really kick off on Wednesday morning, buddy.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things you've said there. I think straight off the bat, I know that during the primer, I said that Momo Watanabe was my choice to win, and I think we are getting very, very close to that babyface turn. The miscommunication with her and Hate is getting more frequent. It was ultimately miscommunication with Hate that led her to lose to Sari, which obviously we'll talk about a little bit leading in. In terms of your brackets, I'm pretty much in complete agreement with you. Every single winner. I do think we are getting to see Oriano and Natsupoi final. It'll be interesting to see which way they go. I am leaning towards Natsupoi of the two. However, I think if you're going to do, sorry, I'm going to sneeze. I think if you're going to do Saya Kamatani at Dream Queendom, if they are going to go back to the 5-star Grand Prix winner challenging at Dream Queendom, which I liked, I don't know why they changed it. Well, I do know why they changed it, because we had Tam versus Saya and it was great. I think if Saya is going to drop the belt, I think Natsupoi will be the one to do it. I think if you're going to have Saya retain, then you have Cioriano. Simply because I think if Natsupoi challenges again and loses, she's going to look a bit like a goober, and needs to win it really. And you've got the whole doing it for Tam sort of thing. The only real other thing that I disagree with, again, Azumi and Hanan is the only match really where I can see it going either or way.
They did a great job planting the Han, and if that match just ended with Kamatani pinning her and like goodbye, she cuts the promo. But the fact that they added so much to it, you're just
that's
like,
the thing.
And I would say, and a lot of people are like, well, Hanan's going to get her win back here, and I was like, but they only gave us a 3-minute match with Azumi versus Natsupoi. That's the only. But there's so many different ways to go. But continue, buddy. I'm excited.
Yeah, you can tell, which is great. Yeah. The only thing that I slightly disagree with you on is literally all of the matches in the next sort of week, 10 days. I think they will stretch it out slightly. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't have a Saya red belt defense at the 5-star final, but we have Starlight Kid and Tomoka Inaba on that show. So instead, we'll have the 5-star final, Starlight Kid and Tomoka Inaba, the 2 semifinals, and potentially you will have B sort of announcing officially that she's challenging Saya, and that can go on the pay-per-view on 6/9. What I do think will happen is that whoever beats Saya in the quarterfinals, which I think we both think is going to happen, which is mad. Saya Kamatani hadn't lost a singles match in 344 days, yet we've got her losing 3 on the bounce.
She's in the mud.
Yeah, absolutely. Kohaku beat Priestley, and then either Azumi or Hanan are beating her in the space of a week. But I do think that happens. And I think that the chances are whoever beats Saya will then challenge. We've got, I think it's called Crimson Nightmare, I think is the one in October. I think that the chances are we will have it there. Saya will be in some sort of high-profile tag match, potentially against B. Priestley and someone, just to warm people up, ready for Stardom to the World. But other than that, I think you're absolutely right with everything you've pointed out there. There's a lot of different ways you can go. I would hold off on Momo Watanabe and Sari. And the only reason that I would hold off on that match is to give it a chance to breathe, because it's such a intense feud and we've had it quite a lot in quite a short amount of time. And I know you're going to say capitalize, jump in while the iron's hot, that sort of thing. I think they will give it just a little bit, because the problem you've got is when you've got Stardom pay-per-views and you've got 4 or 5 or 6 fantastic title matches on there, you risk losing some in the midst of all of the others. Now, obviously, Stardom announced that you have got these 3 shows, including the 5-star final, and you've also got the historic crossover show in China, which I don't think will have any title matches on there, but nevertheless, I think they'll want to keep their powder clean in terms of being able to put these matches on all of these different pay-per-views, and also continue slow building maybe towards Dream Queendom as well, because if a Dream Queendom match is Sari versus Momo Watanabe 3, you know that people are going to pay money to see someone dethrone Sari or to beat up Sari. And again, your next biggest show after the 5-star final is Dream Queendom at the end of the year.
The reason why I think they're going to go through another Momo match is because the bigger match is would be Shuri.
Potentially.
If she's cleared.
If she's fit, yeah.
If she's cleared. And there's a possibility, because I know that she posted her AEW promo pictures. We still don't know who that 4th person is at Forbidden Door. It might be her. We don't know. We haven't heard anything on the arm. She just posted that gross picture a couple of weeks ago. But with Micah's injury or everybody else's injury, they basically give us a timetable. We don't know Shuri's timetable, and there's a possibility, Rob, that and I know you're gonna be at Forbidden Door, that maybe it is Shuri. Maybe it was just something micro that she had to get done. Wait 2 or 3 weeks for it to heal. So that's a possibility. There's a lot of great stuff that they have on tap. Now, we can be completely wrong, and maybe the finals Momo Watanabe versus Saya Kamatani. Who doesn't want to see that? But
could be Rina versus Sami Sori. I mean, who the hell knows? Again, potentially you might have Bozilla going over Suzu. I think Bozilla's had a phenomenal tournament, by the way. Considering we've got so many MVPs throughout the tournament, and again, we're already going longer than I wanted to, so we'll wrap it up shortly. But in terms of MVPs, you could pick almost anyone in this tournament. I mean, Natsuko Tora has had an absolutely phenomenal tournament. Those back-to-back matches with Starlight Kid and Tomoka Inaba were fantastic. Tomoka Inaba has had a fantastic tournament. Bozilla has been brilliant. Amisori has been brilliant. Saya Rida has been phenomenal as well, as we'd expect, because it's Saya Rida and she's great. That Forbidden Door 4-way is going to be interesting, because obviously we know that it cannot be Starlight Kid, it can't be Natsupoi, it can't be Sioriano, because she's on the Oz Academy show that's also on that day. So there are 3 names that have been touted about. Obviously, Izumi's a big name that is, at the moment, seems to be the front runner. It wouldn't surprise me if Shiori is cleared. I think it will be Shiori. If Shiori's not cleared, I think Bozilla. And I think they'll set something up during the Corrigan Hall show. But again, we've only got 6 days until Forbidden Door, and you've only got 1 Dynamite left, which I will be at also on Wednesday night, and Collision. So I will see all the fallout from that as well. So yeah, it's exciting. I think Stardom have done a very good tournament, considering there was 32 people. Again, I will still stand by that staunchly. 32 people is too many people for a tournament. However, the only time where it felt completely overbearing was that opening night, and that's easily remedied. You can split it over 2 nights if there's, the wiggle room to rent the venue for 2 separate nights, and that's obviously, something that needs to be looked at logistically. But other than that, I think the tournament's been something of a home run. I think everyone has taken advantage of the time they've been given. Obviously, the likes of Maysera, who's no longer in the tournament, Starlight Kid, who's no longer in the tournament, Uriah Himi, who we need to talk about more, because goodness gracious me, what a tournament she's had, considering she has basically been beaten pillar to post by absolutely everyone in her block. I think she's been tremendous. I think she gave Bozilla a fantastic match, considering we thought Bozilla was going to flatten her in about 38 seconds. But no, that was just Waka Tsukiyama losing in 38 seconds. Anyway, Matt.
Real quick, because I know we said 15, 20 minutes, and of course we went over. The last thing I do want to say, because I will forget, I think that if the main event, or not the main event, the finals are Anu versus Natsupoi, if they run this format next year, they can put over how important it is to be the 1 seed, because last year Soriano 1 seed and Natsupoi with the bye. So when Stardom finally hires us to do commentary, Rob, next year, we can put that over. See, I had to get that in, buddy. I always got to put us over, buddy. Got to put us over.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, we will go into far more detail regarding the 5-star Grand Prix and all of the matches over the last 2 days of action from the 16th and the 17th of August, as well as Corrigan Hall as well, where we will actually know our semi-finals for the 5-star Grand Prix, which is incredibly exciting. We might even know who is opening that goddamn forbidden door. So that's exciting as well. But ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to check us out wherever you get your podcasts. We are literally everywhere. Leave us a comment and a 5-star review if you can. It really helps us out. Patreon.com/the StardomCast, where you can get all of these episodes early, ad-free. You can find all of our news, our show updates, our show previews, all of those good things. I'm currently backdating all of the show previews and show reviews of all of the ones we've done, which are numbering, I believe, about 130. So it's going to take me a while, but I'm getting there. So far, in terms of previews, I've done all of the previews for Stardom. I've done most of the ones for Marigold. So keep your eyes out for that. You can also find us on social media at the StardomCast, apart from on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky, where we are Talk Joshi. You can find me on Twitter at RealRobGoodwin. I will be releasing at the end of the week my Mayu Iwatani retrospective. I very rarely am proud of anything that I do, but the Mayu episode I am genuinely really proud of. So keep an eye out for that. The written version will be up for free on Patreon. You don't need to sign up or anything. The written episode you can check out there completely for free. And obviously the episode will air on Saturday on the free feed as well. So keep an eye out for that. Matt Turner, sign us off, good sir.
Rob Goodwin, you should always be proud of your work. I tell you that all the time, in private and in public, buddy. Don't put yourself down.
Thank you.
You put the work in, buddy. You put the work in. Folks, question, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and the Twitter is the best and fastest and easiest way to get a hold of me. Or you can shoot me an email. The email address simply is thestardomcast22@gmail.com. Folks, we thank you so much for your support. We can't do without you because, like I always say, it's just not my podcast. It's our podcast because we're all together. Everybody's different. Everybody's special.